In the vast expanse between China and Europe lies one of the most vital trade routes in the world. Stretching over 10,000 kilometers, this freight route serves as a crucial link in logistics transportation between the two regions. This route has brought significant economic benefits to both China and European countries. However, a recent development has caused upheaval. China has announced plans to cancel Lithuania's transportation line in the China-Europe Railway Express and seek alternative routes that bypass Lithuania. So, what did Lithuania do to offend China, and what losses will Lithuania suffer upon its withdrawal from the China Railway Express? Let's understand further. The transport of goods has long been the backbone of global commerce. Massive cargo ships traverse the vast oceans, connecting nations and facilitating the exchange of goods and ideas. Among these essential routes was the Lithuanian cargo transport line, which had played a vital role in connecting Europe with the vast markets of Asia. But in a sudden and unexpected move, China, a global economic heavyweight, decided to cut off this vital lifeline. Let us look at the operations of the China-Europe Express. Since its inception in 2011, the China Railway Express has generated substantial economic value and social benefits for the countries along its route. In its first year, it created over $200 million in economic value for the countries involved. By the end of 2021, the China-Europe Railway Express had completed 18,376 trips, transporting more than 130 million tons of goods, an impressive year-on-year increase of approximately 43%. As the China Railway Express continues to expand, its annual value and growth persistently rise. From January to June 2023 alone, it operated 8,641 trains and transported over 936,000 TEUs, 20-foot equivalent units of goods, serving various European countries and regions such as Russia, Poland, Germany, and France. With continuous expansion and upgrades, more countries along the route are poised to benefit from this efficient, fast, and secure freight service. Lithuania, a small European nation, had worked tirelessly to establish and maintain this vital cargo transport line. The route served as a gateway, allowing European businesses to reach the vast Chinese market efficiently. It was a symbol of cooperation and economic progress, fostering diplomatic ties between the two nations. However, China's decision to cancel the line was a grave blow to Lithuania's aspirations and a clear message of dominance. The China-Europe Railway Express has garnered significant acclaim, serving as a critical platform for promoting economic ties and trade cooperation in Eurasia. However, some countries have persisted in provoking China and adopting hostile stances, and Lithuania happens to be one of them. The cancellation of the Lithuanian cargo transport line sent shockwaves through the Lithuanian government. Political leaders, filled with concern, voiced their apprehension over China's brazen move. The nightmare of an overbearing superpower attempting to control the international trade landscape was becoming a grim reality. China views Lithuania's actions as a challenge to its sovereignty and a violation of international law and norms. Despite repeated warnings, Lithuania persisted with its anti-China policy, prompting China's decision to exclude Lithuania from the China Railway Express project. This decision serves as both a severe punishment for Lithuania's behavior and a measure to ensure the safety and stability of the project. After careful consideration, the Chinese government decided to exclude Lithuania from the China Railway Express project. Lithuania officially joined the project in 2011, becoming an important member and witnessing a surge in its economic development. Bilateral trade between China and Lithuania saw substantial growth, with imports and exports reaching $1.423 billion in 2011, an increase of over 38%. However, Lithuania's provocative actions and open recognition of Taiwan's independent diplomatic status incensed China. Trade discussions and negotiations between nations are usually seen as an avenue for cooperation and mutual benefits. However, the cancellation of the Lithuanian cargo transport line exposed a darker side of international relations. It highlighted the potential pitfalls of relying too heavily on a single trade partner, especially one with a dubious track record regarding human rights and freedom of expression. As news of the cancellation spread, Protests erupted both in Lithuania and across the globe. People took to the streets, demanding answers and expressing their solidarity with the Baltic nation. It was a poignant reminder that the nightmare extended far beyond the realm of politics and economics. It was an affront to the principles of democracy and freedom that many hold dear. The consequences of Lithuania's withdrawal from the China Railway Express project on its economy are concerning. Economists forecast that Lithuania's fiscal deficit is nearing $50 billion, putting the country's economy at risk of collapse. Without the support of the railway transportation system, Lithuania will face higher import costs, increasing pressure on production costs and living expenses. The country's highly trade-dependent economy, particularly with European markets, will be significantly impacted, and trade volume may drop by 28%. This could result in an annual loss of $1.2 billion, a substantial blow for a small, heavily indebted country. If Lithuania persists with its anti-China stance, China may consider taking further measures. This could include the forced removal of more than 200 railway tracks within Lithuania's domestic China-Europe railway, leading to severe transportation difficulties and negatively affecting the country's economic development. Experts and analysts scrambled to make sense of the implications. Some argued that China's cancellation of the cargo transport line was a direct response to Lithuania's outspoken stance on human rights issues and its support for pro-democracy movements. Others saw it as a broader pattern of China flexing its economic muscles, aiming to assert dominance and reshape the global trade landscape in its favor. China's actions against Lithuania went beyond the cancellation of the cargo transport line. Here are some of it: economic sanctions and trade barriers. China imposes restrictions on Lithuanian exports, making it difficult for Lithuanian businesses to access the Chinese market. The punitive measures further strain Lithuania's economy and exacerbate the nightmare it faces. Cyber attacks and hacking. China is believed to orchestrate cyber attacks against critical infrastructure, government systems, and private businesses in Lithuania. The digital assault highlights China's willingness to employ all means necessary to assert its dominance. Diplomatic isolation. China pressures other nations to distance themselves from Lithuania, seeking to isolate the Baltic nation on the international stage. Lithuania faces challenges in garnering support for its cause, intensifying the nightmare it experiences. Human rights abuses and cultural suppression. Reports emerge of cultural suppression and human rights abuses against ethnic Lithuanians in China. The nightmare deepens as Lithuania witnesses its people suffering in a distant land, victims of China's heavy-handed tactics. The fallout from China's decision rippled across the globe, affecting economies far and wide. European businesses, heavily reliant on the Lithuanian cargo transport line, were left scrambling for alternative routes. The disruption in the supply chain threatened livelihoods, impacting workers and businesses alike. The nightmare was not confined to Lithuania alone. It became a shared concern for nations dependent on global trade. Diplomatic channels crackled with activity as concerned nations convened to discuss a united response. Talks of diversifying trade routes and strengthening alliances gained momentum. The nightmare served as a wake-up call, reminding nations of the importance of a resilient and diverse global trade network. It became clear that tolerance for economic coercion and dominance had reached its breaking point. The cancellation of the Lithuanian cargo transport line by China was a stark reminder that the nightmare of unchecked economic power could no longer be ignored. It exposed the vulnerabilities of an interconnected world and the urgent need for a re-evaluation of trade policies and alliances. As nations grappled with the fallout, the nightmare was far from over. The true test lay in whether the global community could rise above these challenges and forge a more equitable and sustainable future.